Merry-go! Oh, thanks, had it. Please welcome the new member of the family. new member of the family. This is my my lovely new bandsaw. The old one isn't dead. It's just waiting for some parts to turn up, and then I'm going to give it to my mate. But this one, this old girl, or whatever you should call it, I suppose. 3 times the power, lads. Twice the cutting depth, and 1.5 times the throat. So it's a fair old step up, and it's nice and solid. It's got a cast iron table, cast iron wheels, top and bottom, and takes a much bigger blade. That's kind of how I ruined the other one. I haven't ruined it. I mean, when I get some new parts on it, it should be okay. Let me show you. I've been putting 3/4 inch blades on it. You know, it's only got a 1/2 inch blade on it at the minute. I think you're only supposed to put a 6mm blade or 1/4 inch blade on it, but I took that off, so I've got to make a little cover before I give it to my mate. But either way, the wheel bearings are okay, but all the guide bearings are kind of knackered, and it just snapped a belt the other day. So I'll give it a good clean out and put a new blade, the proper blade, and bearing and belt on it, and give it to my mate. But either way, it's a new one. Rather than do a review, like there's loads of reviews on these ones. This is like a sort of generic bandsaw, and this was the cheapest one I could find out of that generic bunch. So this was just over 400 quid in the sales, and what we'll use the bandsaw to make a stand for the bandsaw, yeah, and that'll be kind of a review of sorts, yeah. Okay, so I'm already encountering a number of problems with this machine before I've even started. The switch failed immediately. It's one of those I don't know what you call them. Basically, if you leave it switched on and turn the machine off at the wall, when you turn it back on again, it'll be switched off. So it's got a little coil and like a solenoid almost inside. So it'll work if I hold it on. So I've just temporarily hot-wired it whilst I'm waiting for a new switch to turn up. I do actually have a really cheap, nasty one, but I don't really fancy sticking that in. It might look okay on camera, but it's dirty. So we'll just use the switch on the wall for the minute. That gets it working. I'd send it back, but it's always such hassle, especially with stuff with pallets. You know, like I had to go to the end of my drive and just roll this off the lorry onto the back of my truck. You know, yeah. So I don't know how they pick it up, but. Yeah, I don't know if you can make that out, but there's daylight top and bottom, which, if this is a flat surface, shouldn't be possible. You know, the only way you can get daylight top and bottom is if the ripping fence is actually banana shaped. So I'm not overly impressed. In actual fact, I'm a little bit disappointed. Yeah, I think it's safe to say I'm a little bit disappointed. This was it's exactly the same machine as the Record, except the Record has a steel bar that the fence runs along, and I don't often use the fence, but the reason I wanted a really big saw, well, a big saw for me anyway, was so I could do ripping a little bit more effortlessly. But you know, unless you've got everything square, it's always going to require secondary operation in the planer or something, isn't it, I suppose? Yeah, so either way, we'll try and make a stand for it. I have called the technical helpline. They're nice people, very helpful. But he seemed quite happy for me to muck around with it, as long as if I do have to send it back, it's in a you know, similar state to how I received it. So alright, I'm not going to do anything that I can't undo, but I figured I'd play around with it. He's not got back to me yet about the problem with the belt, but you know, I've kind of fixed the belt problem now, I think, but still leaves the switch and these other bits and bobs. I don't think they'd ever cover the other bits and bobs under warranty. Maybe, but probably not. Just a bit, you know, we should be aware of. I think all these machines are identical, like the range of these bandsaws. You notice they've all got the little window. I think there's a slightly larger one with this little window, but you know, consider it a generic bandsaw sold under several different labels. I know Axminster sell it. A company called Lumberjack that I hadn't heard of sells one. Charnwood as well sell one. Draper, this one was the cheapest, that's why I bought it. Although there are a few little differences with the ancillaries, like the record ones have, like I say, your nice big steel bar for the fence to run along. But you know, I could probably make one. You know, I think we should make one at some point, but not now. Too busy. So we're going to build the stand for this thing out of oak dunnage. This is the lowest grade timber you can buy. So this is the cast-offs, the unwanted timber from the fencing people, and they just turn it into 4-foot long lumps for forklifts to drop the packs down onto, so they can get the blades in and out. Yeah, it really is the lowest of the low, but I've got quite a bit of it because it's so cheap and it's handy having this sort of stuff around. So we're going to try and build this this stand out of this stuff. First, I'm going to make some very thin, not veneers, but a little bit thicker than that, but so I can laminate up some wheels. Oh yeah, we have to switch on at the wall. Good one. Turn the Isaac Harper off. Okay, so I've got everything planed down. Look, you know, I'm sure a joiner would probably turn their nose up at my grotty cheapo oak, but I think it's just bloody beautiful. I love working with oak. It's not like I ever do much with it, but it's just a really pretty timber, isn't it? Especially when it goes old, you know, like it ages well. A bit like me, lads. Anyway, so we've got some 3x1 planed up. I've only planed this front and back. We've not done the edges of this because I was going to shape it. And the 3x3 dunnage is all lovely and squared up and planed all round. And I've got you know, a fair old chunk of shavings for the meat smoker. Let's try and make a stand out of this. Oh, and the other thing, my plywood wheels. I don't suppose would you call it plywood? I don't know if you call it plywood. Laminated wheels, perhaps. These have been under the clamps for a day now, so hopefully they're good and stuck. Okay, yeah, we'll make that round, and that'll be a wheel. Excellent. We're just assembling this stand in the container next to the log burner, yeah? So this glue actually goes up today. It's really nice having things a little bit tidier in here so I can actually do stuff like this. Otherwise, I would have spent a day or two just gluing this up because it takes so bloody long for glue to go off in the cold, doesn't it? Nothing to do with the fact that I'm soft, you know. I can handle the cold, you know. Just thinking about the glue, lads, you know. Whee! It jumped right out of my head. We're counter boring the holes a little bit because I want to put plugs on top of the screws. Hey, come back here.
A makeshift mortuary was set up in a chapel in the village, a short distance from the site. It was a cramped space, but no more fitting one was available. People were admitted to identify the bodies of their children. At 3 p.m. on the 16th of June 1883, a children's until the very accomplished smoke from one of the
Okay, so here's the lovely stand. I absolutely love oak, you know, especially when you got weird stuff going on with a grain like this. This is, like I say, the cheapest, nastiest timber you can buy. I think it's like £2 a 4 foot length of the 3x2, and a little bit more of the for the 3x3. But yeah, a bit of oil on it. It's just lovely. Not the strongest of timber acres. You got all sorts of funny things going on with the grain here. You got a lot of run out there and knots and bird eyes and whatnot all over the place. But it's very pretty timber. Very pretty timber. I hope I did it justice. Some of the joints are alright. Some of them are a bit baggy, and I'm actually going to blame the bandsaw for that. I'll explain why in a bit. We'll get the bandsaw on the stand trolley, whatever we're going to call it, and then I'll have a little talk through with you about the issues the brand new bandsaw has. Very nice. Oh, those wheels did turn out okay, you know. They're laminated, 6 laminations in each. Kind of look like ply, don't they? But that's just thin strips I ran off with a bandsaw. Okay, so the saw's mounted on the trolley. It's very nice. It'll be quite easy to move this now. I mean, we can pretty much waltz. Yeah, lovely. Okay, let's have a chat about the saw. So, would I recommend anyone goes out and buys this saw? Well, it's funny. There's no real straightforward answer to that, I'm afraid. God, look at that sexy oak stand, whatever it is. I'll probably build a little box to go in there, to be honest, keep blades and stuff in. Anyway, back to the saw. Naughty. Okay, there were some pretty annoying problems with this saw when I got it. Yeah, so switch, obviously, I mean, the switch, the common switch, the MVR switch they're called, isn't it? No volt reset, I think. Basically, if you leave it switched on and turn it off at the wall, and then switch it back on at the wall, the machine won't start. As far as safety devices go, that's a pretty good one. It's a good idea. But that burnt out within the, I don't know, 5th or so time that I started the saw. Very annoying. The other major fault that it had was how do we get this door open? Yeah, these doors open so nicely, nice and easy. I don't think I can do that with the table in its current position. So yeah, the other fault was the saw wouldn't stay in its high speed setting. So it's got two speeds, and I use the low speed mostly for this stand, because you're meant to use a lower speed for hardwoods and whatnot. But you can see there we've got a serpentine belt and 2 settings, and you back off the tensioner with that knob, idler tensioner, you know, moves that way, then you can slip the belt onto the other side. What was happening was the belt was in the high speed, the belt was rubbing against this this chassis. It was just working back, and it's actually started doing it. I hadn't realised it's done it on the low speed. Yeah, so I mean, I thought I'd fixed it, to be honest. I took the belt off, and it's a very bad quality belt, and had a lot of fez, like sort of mould flashings or whatever in between the ribs on the belt, and I spent ages just digging them out. And it was okay. It was okay, but I've just noticed it has actually jumped a couple of ribs up there, isn't it? That's it's not great. Either way, when that happened, I contacted the seller, and the seller said, "No, mate, there's nothing we can do. You got to call the manufacturer." So I call these guys, call their helpline. They're like, "Oh God, we're so sorry. You know, we're like, yeah, what's the problem and all that. You know, we need pictures and that. You know, we'll tell you exactly what we think when we know more." So all right, God, these guys sound so helpful, and yeah, never heard back from the fuckers. Like, that was a week ago now. So that's annoying. That's annoying when people say they're going to do something when you've just spent a few hundred quid with them or whatever, and then they lie to you, fuckers. That's not nice. I don't like that. I'd rather they just didn't pick up the phone in the first place. Yeah, if they've got no intention of helping you, just don't pick up the fucking phone. What? Or at least don't lie about it and make me send a load of pictures in. And you know, I wrote like a five-page email with yeah, a full account of what happened. You know, my dog's name and how many slices of toast I like to eat in the morning. That's a train going past. I need to change the battery on the camera anyway. So the issue with the belt is half fixed. Yeah, I think if I put a new belt on it, it'll be okay. But the official belt for this thing is 17 quid, which is the same price as a new blade, which is a bit steep. So I've just been trying to find a you know, the same belt manufactured just as a standard belt, basically. I can't get the can't get other belt manufacturers' numbers, but I'll find it anyway. So hopefully I can get a new belt for a few quid that's a bit better quality. So those are the two major things, and I'll put a new switch on it at some point. I just want to find a nice one rather than a identical replacement shit one. The fence is pants as well. I don't like it. It does have quite a bit of flex in it, you know. And you know, the whole point of a saw like this, a nice big saw like this, you can throw some big old lumps of wood through it, and it does cope with them very well. The blade's dulled off already. I do have another blade for it. I've got a Starrett blade that I ordered at the same time as the store, so that should hopefully improve it. It will probably cut in a straighter line and cut more efficiently, and the blade will last ages. But these they always send shit blades with the saws. But yeah, even despite the shit blade, it's still chew through 3 inches of oak quite happily. But yeah, like I'm saying, you know, you got bigger lumps of wood going in the saw. It'd be really nice if the fence didn't deflect so much. So there's that, and different manufacturers selling the same. Sorry, different brands selling the same saw. Like Record sell this saw as well. They have a steel shaft which looks much better and will probably be something I copy when I modify this saw. This thing's a bag of crap. Like, these are really useful. I don't know what you call them, but I mean, I've got to put a bit of wood on the front of this. But yeah, you hold the wood there. I'm sure you saw me using this in the video. There's just too much play. It doesn't make a good square cut every time. Yeah, because you know, especially if your piece of timber's poking out a long way, you end up cutting at an angle with that. Bit disappointing, but again, you know, I can easily make a new one of these. That'd be a fun little project. Maybe put some brass on it or something, as well as the the fence bar that might want a bit of brass. So there are a few joints on this where I've just assumed that was going to keep things square, and it hasn't. So well, it depends what you're looking for in a bandsaw, doesn't it? If you want something that you can just unpack out of the box, assemble, and it will be lovely and accurate, and you know, do exactly what it's meant to do, this is not the saw for you. However, for me, I quite enjoy modifying tools and stuff, making them a bit better. So yeah, I've basically consider that £400 paid for a very, very solid bandsaw, and it is. I like the fact, you know, even the doors are metal. They're normally plastic on like sort of DIY saws. These claim to be iron on the record saw, but these are definitely aluminium. You know, I don't see that's a problem. Maybe it is a problem, maybe not. We've got a little bandsaw blade tension indicator there. Yeah, I don't know, I've always got an okay just pinging the blade. That sounds a bit loose actually, as it happens, but you know, it's the other stuff like this, the guide rollers are really nice and solid, they're great. Everything's easy to use. I really like the door open and close. You don't have to find a screwdriver, and there's not nasty you know, wing nuts poking out the front or anything like that, so they're cool. The guide raises and lowers on that knob, and then there's a secondary knob that locks it. Fucking lovely, really like that. The table adjustment is awkward. It's awkward on all these smaller saws because you know, you've got to come around the back here, isn't it? And I'll probably end up pushing this thing against the wall and leaving it there until I need to do really long stuff. So you know, unless you've got this saw in the middle of the room, having the table lock up on the back is a bit frustrating. The light, yeah, it's shit. You can't point it where you need it, and this broke as well. So I would like a light on here though, so I quite like the idea of putting a light. So that's it, yeah. I was going to have a tidy up in here, then the saw arrived, so it didn't happen, but yeah, I'll tidy up now anyway. It's a lovely saw. It's just a bit shit at the same time. The saw itself is great. I think the saw itself is very nice, but it has a fair few bits bolted onto it that really let it down. Stand, yeah, that's a nice stand. I'm happy with that. It just came out of old damage. That's a very pleasing stand. Saw, yeah, I mean, it looks smart, doesn't it? I'm really enjoying being able to you know, chew through big lumps of oak. That's a very, very happy day. The old one, I've got to fix that, and I've got a belt there, and then I'm going to give it to my mate, and hopefully he'll carry on canoe building. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and I will see you again soon. Alright, bye bye.